Hello and welcome to my New Game Plus casual difficulty segmented speedrun of The Evil Within. My name is Amawolf and I'm a speedrun of the game since day one. I found a new glitch back in November of last year, which is called the launch glitch. As the name suggests, this glitch is huge and shaves off a ton of time of the speedrun. You will see crazy things and heavy use of the glitch once we're out of chapter 1.
Smells like blood.
All right, stay sharp. We're gonna check it out. Don't let anyone else through this door.
I can be an extra set of eyes.
We don't know what's happening here. You're a backup.
Quick recap on what segmented means. Segmented means we don't do the run in one single segment like we do it on live streams, for example.
Did you hear something?
We do the run from checkpoint to checkpoint, from chapter to chapter, over a longer time period.
Someone alive in here.
In The Evil Within, we use its baked-in in-game timer short IGT to time our runs.
Are you injured? What happened here?
Can't be real. Impossible. Ruvik is...
I've got him. The security cameras might tell us something.
The IGT excludes loading screens, pauses every time whenever you hit the pause menu, and rewinds itself back to the checkpoint once you reload the autosave. It also rewinds the death count to the value you had when you hit the checkpoint. That is why we as a community agreed that reloading the autosave is banned for single segment runs. With that out of the way, I want to talk about this run for a little bit here. This run took me several months to route and to complete, besides my job and other projects. This run is not super optimal. It has some mistakes and flaws for sure, but in the grand scheme of things, they are pretty minimal. The goal of this run was to show and to find all the things that are skippable, avoidable by zipping and launching, while keeping the in-game time below 2 hours. So yeah, the final IGT could have been 2 to 5 minutes faster or lower, but that was not the main goal of this run. The main goal of this run was to route a proper any percent run with all the new skips and glitches, and basically it was reverse engineering the game to make it all work with the flags and checkpoints and sequence break checks of the game, because this is a very linear game and we have to keep some laws in check to always make sure progression is possible. And now back to chapter 1. To get the knife in 2 swings, don't use slow motion on your analog stick or on your mouse button. Just spam like a maniac and you obtain the knife in 2 swings. It's consistent and way quicker than just do it slowly, you know. Don't mimic Sebastian's motion, just spam. For chapter 1 there are 3 movement speeds. Crouch walking, which I do, which is the fastest. Just crouching, which is the middle ground or the second fastest. Or just walking, which is the slowest. Crouch walking serves the purpose of Sebastian going up and down, and he gets a small speed boost when coming out of the crouch animation. Which is also neat when picking up the key. You either have to be standing or coming out of the crouch animation, therefore he picks up the key way quicker and more fluid, instead of the slow grab he does when you adjust crouching. So this is just chapter 1 as usual here. So let's talk about launching for a moment. Zipping and launching works completely similarly to Doom Eternal. You have the moment of overlap and you make use of the janky moment. And with the weapon wheel you can interrupt it and you can expand the build up to gain insane height and speed, which is also frame rate dependent in this game. This is just chapter 1 as usual, holding forward until we reach the locker room. So I want to talk about a few things here. I'm going to label all the launches. I differentiate by type. Zip, which is the basic glitch without the weapon wheel. Then I have the normal weapon wheel launch with average tempo, I would say. Then there is the slow weapon wheel launch, which nerfs my momentum. And then there is the mega launch, which gives me massive height and speed. Sound very different from each other, but actually they are really close to each other because it all comes down to minimal differences. Minimal differences in pixels on your spot, minimal differences in your angle, minimal differences in how far you press forward and how fast you flick forward, minimal differences in timing, how early you press the weapon wheel. It comes down to spot, angle, left stick input velocity and weapon wheel timing. With that being said, let's talk about the engine for a bit. This game runs on id Tech 5 engine or ID Tech 5 engines such as the game Rage, which has a physical or a core limit of 60 FPS. So I stick with 60 FPS for this run. So playing above 60 is a mod in my book. I want to mention the fact that everything physics related in the Evil Within is directly tied to frame rate. This also affects the whole concept of zipping and launching, which means the higher your FPS, the more speed you get, the easier you lift off and vice versa. Which means you're heavily limited on consoles because all console ports of the Evil Within are locked at 30 FPS. Frame rate also affects all kind of physics in the game, such as the gravity of objects such as cars, chairs, etc. On higher FPS, 60 and above, it's like those things are on ice. Or the Roombas or the Doombas or the Beyblades, whatever you want to call it, they also are affected by the frame rate. Or things like projectile travel speed, such as bullet travel speed, bolt travel speed, it's all affected by the frame rate. It's always the same concept in this game. Okay, back to on-screen gameplay real quick. We finally reached the locker room. We want to enter the locker real late. This is a trick where we can manipulate the game. By entering the locker late instead of early, we have access to the exit prompt right away, or during the whole cutscene sequence, if you will. So we can exit the locker as soon as the sadist hits the trigger for the door collision to be here. And then we can escape the locker and the sadist gets warped by the checkpoint and the rest is just holding forward.
Better hide.
Find myself within darkness twisting me around. There is nothing I can do. And this world doesn't spin. It just turns itself around and around. The night chokes tight.
Chapter 1 is finally done. We can save the game, check our in-game time, and I edit out the loading screen, and we head up to Chapter 2, which starts with a cutscene skip. And you just hold the cutscene skip button down, basically. Cutscene skips are different in this game. For some, you can hold it, and some you have to time. It's just a weird developer thing. So anyways, when we gain control over Seb here, since we're on New Game Plus, we have access to our weapons, which means I can aim here and trigger the dialogue.
Anybody there?
Are we awake?
Is everyone else all right? The city.
Whatever are you talking about? You are the only soul here. Right now.
A hospital.
This place is necessary for you. You're always welcome here.
I've been hospitalized.
I'm afraid I cannot answer that. Please, sign in here. Without signing in, there is no way to ensure your future memories. This way, please.
Smells like medicine.
You are all right. Please, relax. Please, have a seat.
What the hell?
You mustn't fight it. This is for your own good.
No. Stop.
There now. You see? All better.
Lady, am I going...
I'll be waiting.
Shit. What the hell is going on? Where am I?
So as you noticed, on New Game Plus we can sprint right away. We don't need to heal here. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any spot to have a successful launch from the ambulance truck to the lantern, so we just have to sprint here. So after this Connolly encounter, which is a nice cutscene reference to Resident Evil 1 by the way, I kill Connolly. That gives me an extra checkpoint, which made grinding the next 2 launches less of a pain because I don't have to rewatch this cutscene over and over.
Hurts!
Whoa. Were you warning me about this? You are Leslie, right? I'm a police officer. Maybe I should help you.
Should help you.
Shit. How am I gonna get you to a hospital?
Hospital. Hospital!
What the fuck?
So the first launch is coming up. We make use of the tree stump. This is definitely a normal speed weapon wheel launch, standard weapon wheel launch, but the angle is important and you don't want to have too much speed. We skip the first haunted encounter by this, the cutscene, you know, where the game shows you the stealth kill mechanic. Then we skip the cutscene of the haunted that transforms, so we launch over here. Fortunately, for optimal reasons, I launched a bit too far because we have to go back to the gate here to hit the trigger for the next area to load. So here I run all the way in the corner here to the rocks and perform a standard weapon wheel launch. I want to land on top of the rocks to crank skip later on, to run basically sideways or along the side of the intended path. Unfortunately, this is my biggest mistake of the run here. It took me several tries, but I was stuck here for a few days and I was like, yeah, let's roll with it. The run's young. There's so much work ahead. Let's work with it. So anyways, I landed up here. The tree stopped me. I had this moment, okay, where am I? I was frustrated already. I was burned. I was like, this is so hard. This technique, this spots, this... I decided, okay, I checked where I was. And I was like, hey, I'm right at the end here. I'm right in front of the crank, basically. So I just climb over here. Fall down. I have to hit this point here before the checkpoint. You notice the crank clicking, which means old area unloaded, new area loaded.
Good God. That's right. Just keep doing what you're doing. Shit. Better get out of here.
It's a linear game, so we have to obey triggers and checkpoints to make progression work. And chapter 2 is done at an in-game time of 16 minutes and 27 seconds. Chapter 3 is super cool and super fast. So we have Seb in the walk and talk state here at the beginning. I line up here at the pile of ropes, perform a standard weapon wheel launch at a specific angle, so I slide up the invisible wall and land up already in the village and trigger this cutscene from the other side. I just wait until I hit the checkpoint and reload the autosave to restore the chapter back to normal. From this checkpoint I have to kill 3 Haunted to get the checkpoint after a zip through the spikes. Because checkpoints in chapter 3 are kill count based. So here on this corner I perform a zip, hop through the spikes, get the checkpoint, reload the checkpoint, skip Jimenez cutscene. Time to take down the sadist. I need 2 magnum shots and a flame bolt for the sadist, and an additional magnum shot for the barrier. 2 at the sadist, place flame bolt to break him out of the chainsaw animation and restart the checkpoint to skip the Ruvik cutscene. After reloading this checkpoint, the game places the chainsaw conveniently in front of us. I run here to the wagon to the right side and there is a hill, and from the hill I perform a standard weapon wheel launch all the way over to the gate to use the chainsaw on the chain. And chapter 3 is done!
Wait! Over here! Wait, officer. You must take me with you.
Detective Castellanos.
Leslie should be just ahead. It is imperative that we find him.
Alright, chapter 3 is finished with an in-game time of 18 minutes and 14 seconds. Up to chapter 4.
Oh, the hospice. Yes. Leslie was being treated here years ago. He'd come here thinking it was familiar and safe.
You know where we are?
Just ahead is the hospice my brother runs. He'll take us in.
That didn't answer my question.
I honestly don't know. For all I know, I'm losing my mind and you're just a delusion. But I like to think I still have a shred of dignity and an obligation to protect my patient as an officer of the law.
What's wrong with this kid? He's gone.
I performed standard weapon wheel launch from the barrel at a very sharp angle that gives me lots of speed but not much height. And here I place an explosive bolt to spawn kill the invisible Haunted.
Leslie! Oh, thank heavens. Dr. Jimenez is
This
here.
place is a death trap.
Settle down.
Is there any... Wait, Doc. I think something's coming.
I think that's unlikely.
Can't get out.
We must be going this way.
Can't get away. Can't get away.
Who the hell are... What the... Doctor? Leslie? Fuck.
Here I'm reloading this autosave just to skip the transition cutscene and to respawn already in the blood pit. The blood pit just requires business as usual. Kill everyone as fast as possible, which is pretty nice with the New Game Plus arsenal. We can't skip this room in any way. You can launch all the way over to the door and bypass the cutscene, but you simply can't open it. I reloaded the autosave just to get placed into the hallway just a little bit further. I used the Magnum on Laura to make her despawn or to kill her, just to skip all the mini cutscenes and the waiting on the door.
Shit, I'd better run.
Reloading this autosave just refills my stamina and splits the segments. Chapter 4 is just business as usual. Get down the ladder, shoot both bombs, use the elevator, get down, and basically watch a cutscene. And make your way to chapter 5, it's nothing special here.
I made it. I can't believe it.
So here it's just make your way down to the Rubik trigger basically. And on your way back up you can pick up this ammo for free, because it doesn't cost any time, and we wait for the chapter end. The trick at the beginning of chapter 5 requires pre-inputs during the loading screen. Hold down sprint, left stick to the left and right stick to the left to turn zap, and to sprint right away as soon as the chapter starts. It desyncs the spawn of the invisible Haunted and we can attack him right away and save about 10 seconds of waiting time. Okay, chapter 4 is done by now. Nothing special, pretty short chapter, pretty straightforward, pretty linear again. My in-game time sits at 23 minutes 10 seconds. Next to chapter 5, remember pre-inputs, sprint right away. The model of the invisible Haunted is not there now, because this is the effect of the desync. Only his hitbox sits there. Killing him here with the Magnum. Side note here, it's not faster to kill him from far away, because we have to reach the door trigger for the door to actually open up.
Like I have to get down.
This is just a tactical reload to refill my stamina bar. On casual difficulty we don't have to deal with the two invisible Haunted here, and we can just sprint to get the keycard. There is a potential keycard skip, because we can get out of bounds through the ceiling, but we can't get back in bounds later in the puzzle hub room, because it has multiple layers and then it's impossible to bomb yourself back in bounds once you're on top of the ceiling, because there are 3 or 4 layers to it. In the hub room there is a cool strategy or skip coming up I just recently found. It's using grenades. However, I made a small mistake here. I healed before I hit the checkpoint, because I thought like, yeah, free time window, but the checkpoint actually hits way before. It's probably a PC version thing, but yeah, it didn't cost that much time, but it looks a bit janky, so yeah, I'm healing here again, waiting for the prompt. Activate the prompt. And unfortunately I have to equip the grenade again, and it gets cancelled. It's a bit janky here, but I just wanted it in here to show it off. Because you can place it here, press the button, and the grenade bombs you back into the hub room. So you don't have to wait that long for the door to open up again, you know, because you don't get locked inside the 3 puzzle rooms. You always get bumped back into the hub room again. Looks pretty cool. I wanted it to be in the run just to show it, and it also saves a few seconds. And on New Game Plus our grenades are full and we can afford it, and it's casual difficulty. Grenades almost do no damage to sap, so we're already done with the hub room. So the upcoming fight with the lady that wakes up the other haunted gets skipped on New Game Plus. It's super easy, just heal Joseph enough that he's able to move, flash the lady before she spots you, and just sprint down to the door. That gets disarmed by Joseph. The flashbolt duration is long enough for the lady to be stunned, so you can just make it down there in the time window and trigger the cutscene, and it's just waiting from here on.
Do you think we can get past it?
Stand back. Let me see if I can disarm it.
Look, let's just get out of here. There's something wrong with this place.
Yeah.
Okay, my friends, it's time for the infamous tank fight. It's pretty much spawn kill room in this category, especially on this segmented run. I've worked out some cool strats, and it has a launch at the end, which skips the prison area round trip and the talking sequence between Sebastian and Joseph. I suggest just watch. I reload this checkpoint here just to have a clean segment split here. Okay, we're going into the tank fight with the explosive bolts pre-equipped because I need 2 at the start. 1 to kill the first wave, to break out the second wave, and once the second wave is killed, the third wave breaks out. First wave down, second wave comes in, explosive bolt for second wave, third wave comes, flame bolt for the third wave. Finish the last 2 enemies with the rifle real quick. Wait for this guy, the dynamite guy, to spawn in. Spawn shot, wait for the checkpoint to pop in. We reload the checkpoint. Time for some more spawn kills, or some traps, I would say. I set up here an explosive bolt for the dynamite guy, the last dynamite guy. And I set up a flame bolt for this wave. I can't place the flame bolt into the doorway or closer to the door because it wouldn't go off because height is broken on this spot. The detection only works at the rock here for some reason. For this wave, I placed a flame bolt right on the doorway. on the doorstep to spray inside the room, and I wait for them to spawn in. Once the door is open, I place another one inside to get rid of everyone, and I wait here in front of the door to manipulate the game to spawn the dynamite guy inside the room, and he also gets spawn killed and doesn't come from the other door. Wait for this wave, flame bolt goes off, squeeze in 2 shots with the rifle, explosive bolt kills one guy, snipe the second guy, launch from the leg of the table over to the dials to skip the prison round trip and the Joseph Kidman tank whatever cutscene, turn the dials, tank fight is done. This launch is fairly easy and can be really easily integrated in single segment runs. So yeah, that was my tank fight. I was really cool and proud of it. Okay, the cave is coming up. Our first crack here. For cracks, always spam your stick forward. It's faster than just holding forward. And it's now just reversal to the fight, to the next fight. Just basic progression here. Just use free aim in the deep water to override the slow walking speed. Nice developer oversight. Okay, we have 5 enemies to deal with coming up. Snipe these 2 guys. Snipe the guy on the left and freeze the big one and the other one. The freeze bolt instantly goes off when it hits a wet surface or a water surface. It doesn't have the 1 second extra time to pop. It pops instantly, and yeah, I just shoot them to get the flag for everyone dead, and just the normal game progression. And if you go to the center of the room where Joseph always goes, you can make him go to this door or to this gate and trigger the cutscene a little bit sooner, basically. It's just more optimal.
Let's get going.
Once Kidman opens this door, we have a tiny window that the game enables us to sprint. But then it's walk and talk again until we hit this certain trigger here. That triggers the dialogue, and then it's just a waiting game for the Laura cutscene. Okay, all the cutscenes are finished. We are warped into this area. This area normally starts with a walk and talk sequence, but by reloading the checkpoint, you can sprint right away. Crouch punch underneath the wire. The crouch punch is an essential technique, which we will see more later on during the run. Strung past by these 2 enemies. The first Laura encounter is coming up before the fight. 1 punch with the brass knuckles and 1 magnum shot to kill her. Skips a lot of waiting here. Did the game correct it? It's pretty funny, pretty unfinished. Second Laura encounter. Same game. 1 punch with the brass knuckles, 1 magnum shot. Laura's down. And we make our way to the tub room. Small side note here, you can actually zip from the doorstep all the way to this big door here, but I found it way later in my journey. So it's not included in this run. Yeah, it saves like, I don't know, 3 seconds or something if done perfectly, not the end of the world. But I want to mention it, it's doable. And yeah, we just watched this cutscene and use the fully upgraded shock bolt on the 3 Haunted, because bigger range and longer duration. But unfortunately, this is one of the downsides of casual difficulty. They are not that aggressive as on Nightmare and the Kumu, so you have to bait them a little bit. You have to work with the brain dead AI a little bit. So this room is definitely easier and more consistent on higher difficulties. So yeah, I just reloaded the checkpoint, did a few attempts, tried some different strats, but shock bolt is still the best way. So you're going to notice that I will go into crouch mode before I unblock the Haunted. This is done on purpose because when Sebastian is crouching, his range gets expanded or extended, which means you don't have to be that close to prompts like picking up things or executing things like you would have to be when you're just standing. It's a mechanic I use a lot in this run. And yeah, chapter 5 is basically done. After you unblock the last guy, hold B to skip this movie thing. And we're heading into chapter 6. Finish chapter 5 with an in-game time of 34:02.
Has something startled you?
Did they do something to my head?
You don't look well. You should take better care of yourself.
Photographs?
Alright, time for chapter 6. Chapter 6 will get so insane. But little side note here, when you check for the photos here, normally on New Game there is a note you have to pick up, but since we are on New Game Plus, the note is already picked up or in our files and it's not there. It's just, it saves a few frames or maybe a second. So this is just a waiting game, you know, we can't do anything here. We have to watch all of this, sit through all of this basically here, make our way down to the Keeper and Leslie and get warped over into chapter 6. But then the fun begins.
Leslie?
Sebastian? Sebastian? Sebastian?
Okay, it is time to make our way to one of the hardest, or if not the hardest launch in the run. This launch took me a week or more, I can't remember. So it's just traversal here. And then we have to have the perfect height, not too much speed, but enough speed, because there are invisible walls. We have to get over the invisible walls, but still land on the roof of the cabin. So yeah, spoiler, cabin skip is coming up. I'm lining up here at the ledge. And I don't want to press the weapon wheel too late, but also not too early. It was such a grind, because if you fail here, you have to do the whole intro of chapter 6 again. So here I launched off beautifully, maybe a little bit too much height, but I landed on the roof. So once on top of the roof, we have to do a few things. I took my time here. I wasted like 20 seconds, but doesn't matter because I want to show this off. Anyway, if you do cabin skip on higher difficulties, you have to protect Joseph with bolts. So placing bolts here, because I wasn't sure how fast I will get the second launch. So now it's important to fall down here, otherwise you're stuck in the first floor. But if you fall down here, we just can go down to the second floor. Now we have to wait at this wall here because this trade-off is happening here and we can't fall into the void if we are not close enough to the wall. And over here, I'm launching all the way to the turrets. I took it a little bit safer here with a more flat angle so I gain more height, but I don't overshoot it. More airtime, but it's safe. I run over to the checkpoint, hit the checkpoint and reload the autosave. First of all, I'm gonna place a flame bolt for the guy that pulls the lever so he gets spawn killed. Then I switch to the flash bolts and shoot this wheel. For the container exploit, it gets both left containers down, and I shoot this right wheel here to get the middle one and the right one down. But the middle one didn't register immediately, so I just shot another one, no big deal here. Switch to the rocket launcher to spawn kill the sadist. Pretty funny here with the transition. Sebastian is going to face the wall, but we get instantly or automatically turned around. Aim at the sadist, kill the sadist. And yeah, whole turrets is already done. Make our way up to the elevator. On New Game Plus I don't use a match here, I use the fully upgraded harpoon bolt to burn the body, it's just faster. And from now on it's just a waiting game to the next checkpoint. Wait for Joseph here. When you go back here at Joseph at the doorway, the cutscene triggers earlier.
Kidman is okay?
I don't like that they used her as bait. Almost like someone's toying with us. Hang in there. Just a little further.
So yeah, just make my way to the cutscene trigger, switch to the flashball real quick. I need it after the checkpoint. Don't have access to the pause menu right now. Now we have access, reload the autosave. Use the flashball on the two guys that carry Joseph. I need to use the freeze ball on the body bag here to detach it, because it gives me a different upwards momentum or angle. This launch is super hard, took me several hundred tries, so we skipped the crank segment. Unfortunately I landed not in bounds, but doesn't matter. I bombed myself in bounds real quick, or back in bounds real quick with the grenade. And I have to hit this trigger point here for the next area, the graveyard area, to load in, or the pre-graveyard area. And also from this pile of rocks I launch all the way over from the marketplace. I skip another walk and talk sequence, or the first one after opening the gate. And we are right at the end of this walk and talk cutscene. Right at the graveyard.
Hold on a minute. Let me climb up here and see if I can get a look ahead.
I reload this checkpoint to be able to sprint right away again, otherwise I would have to wait a few seconds here because Seb is scared animation. But from the checkpoint I can sprint instantly, make my way through the graveyard. There is a launch here you can do, but it doesn't save time. Because you have to watch this cutscene here, by the way. So this is just normal progression here. And the twins fight is coming up. Okay, dealing with the twins is simple. I use the rocket launcher on both. I equipped the rocket launcher here on purpose because you get a quick breakout of the weapon wheel, because the twin cutscene takes priority and closes it. So in the meantime here, Seb already has the rocket launcher ready. Pay attention. It's an insta-shot. Reload the rocket launcher. Position yourself for the second one. and wait for him. They both die with just one rocket. We can collect the 5 sniper rounds because we have downtime. You know, just this camera pan here and waiting for Joseph. So we can just pick up the loot and make our way into the grave.
This way.
2 quick things here. I shoot the box on purpose to set up the reload glitch for inside the grave. And I wait to pick up this note until Joseph is fully here. So there is a seamless transition from text box to dialogue.
Let me see what I wrote.
I guess we go down.
I guess so. Are you all right?
You don't need to worry about me.
Okay, the puzzle room is coming up and I'm gonna do 2 reload glitches. Unfortunately, I memed myself a little bit by reloading the checkpoint, which locked me out of doing the reload glitch on the first level, but it's no big deal. On a single segment run, I always do it on all 3, but from here, I just could do it on 2 because I simply didn't know, because I never reload this checkpoint. It's just an offset thing. So yeah, on the first one, I don't do it, and I want to point out how it works. Because I see a lot of newer runners struggle with this, and the one magic trick is simply, Sebastian has to be fully standing still before you press reload. Don't do it while coming out of a sprint or jog or run. Notice how I push Sebastian against the lever and then wait a tiny moment and then press reload. Then he gets sucked in. You have to stand still before you press reload. And after you press reload, just press the prompt button. I timed Joseph's skip here, by the way, so he does not say his dialogue and he instantly sprints to the elevator, to the cage elevator, and we make our way to the dog. Okay, a small side note here. You probably wonder, like, why are you even going into the grave, you know, from the marketplace? Couldn't you just launch over to the graveyard or to the church, the end of the chapter? And the simple answer is no, because the chapter end is not loaded. How this game works, it's very linear, and we have to dance around the flags the game sets and the checkpoint system of the game, because the game has a lot of sequence break checks, so we have to work within that. Even though launching and weapon wheel launching breaks the game open, we still have to obey the architecture in most ways, if you will. So this is just reversal here. We manipulate Joseph a little bit by waiting for him. It saves a bit of time. So here I wait on Joseph. Once I get the transition here, if you mash A and toggle the stick, Sebastian breaks out of this animation and you toggle the dialogue a few seconds sooner. So a small quirk is coming up. I tried something that looks a bit janky, but it didn't waste time. So I just finished off the dog with a magnum shot real quick, standard New Game Plus casual strategy. But then I mixed up the checkpoints and reloaded the checkpoint because I thought I could maybe skip a cutscene or something. So this is a bit wonky here. So yeah, I reload the checkpoint, in-game time gets rewinded, and I have to shoot him again. But from the checkpoint, it's a bit slower. So yeah, maybe it cost me 3 seconds or so, but it is what it is. Okay, last segment of chapter 6. Last checkpoint. Time to get Joseph's glasses back. I'm gonna kill the dog this time. second phase, you know, with one magnum shot, to just skip the Joseph throwing a bottle cutscene. So I just free aim, shoot him, and make my way back. Again, we're sliding through the crack. Spam your stick forward instead of just holding forward.
I'm sorry. It's not just about being unable to see. It's about feeling normal.
It's all right. Let's focus on finding Kidman.
One last zip is coming up. I just use this bucket here, zip over all the way to the church, and trigger the chapter ending screen. And chapter 6 is done. Second hardest chapter in this category for sure. Alright, we finished chapter 6 at an in-game time of 47 minutes and 41 seconds. Okay, time to visit the Keeper. Spoiler, this is wild. Okay, we are in the church. Once you gain control over Zeb, we sprint all the way just straight forward to the altar because we want to trigger the event. Because if you trigger it soon, without goofing around in the church, you skip a coughing cycle or animation cycle of Joseph coughing. Saves about 3 seconds compared to if you would get the matches and then trigger the event, you know. So here we just wait until Zeb starts talking, mash the B button to cancel the dialogue of Zeb and the A button to immediately talk to Joseph and skip the cutscene. So you cancel Sebastian talking and you can access Joseph earlier. So yeah, this is just the beginning of chapter 7. We left the church. Sprint as soon as you gain control over Zeb. And reload the next checkpoint. Tactical reload to refill the stamina bar. This is just sprinting until we reach the main room. The hub room of this chapter, if you will, where the Keeper waits for us. Here you can't zip or launch to decrease sprinting or, like, you know, just to shorten things up because there are tons of invisible walls down there. You get blocked a lot. So yeah, click on this door here. Pre-aim your camera to instantly shoot this guy because this guy is cursed on casual. He actually has a better AI on casual difficulty than on harder difficulties. Shoot him in the downtime, crouch punch. And again, tactical reload to refill the stamina bar. Alright, making our way down there. Just sprint down there. Stamina management with free aim and shoot the lock. And sprint. It's important here to insert the main tablet because I still have to do grenade skip in order to proceed from glitched chapter 7. You get glitched chapter 7 if you reload the autosave after grenade skip or grenade clip, or you die at the Keeper escape following trap scene. Because the game simply is corrupted then there, because there are flags and checkpoints missing. But that's what we want for this run. So hitting the checkpoint here. Reload the autosave. And run over to the left side. And you see everything of chapter 7 is loaded. Also the chapter end screen. And I perform a slow launch here or a nerfed launch here. Because I need a very sharp angle. But I also don't want to overshoot. And just make my way on top of the chapter here. It's pretty hard. It's hard to navigate because you can easily fall down. I just work with cues and collision to get along and not fall down. And here we jump down to the hole, to the chapter end, and bump myself back and bounce with an explosive bolt. Zeb falls in the hole, and chapter 7 is done already. It's so cool. We're ending chapter 7 at an in-game time of 51 minutes flat, up to chapter 8. Chapter 8 is really straightforward. It starts with a timed cutscene skip, so don't hold down there, you have to wait until you see the prompt. And yeah, it's just chapter 8. There is no out of bounds stuff here. I have 2 traversal launches to minimize or to shorten on sprinting. But yeah, this is just running past by the alter egos. Shoot this guy, shoot the down plank, crouch through, freeze them both. Just stay in gear basically. I want to show off here that you can perform the reload glitch on the cranks, but it's no insta crank, it only has the overlap or insta effect on the first cycle. Maybe it saves time or saves frames or is frames slower, it's not about the time here. So yeah, this is just sprinting here, reload the next checkpoint, tactical reload to refill a stamina bar. And it's time for the first launch. It's a nerfed launch at a very sharp angle to not gain too much height. I press the weapon wheel real late when Sebastian comes out of the crouch animation, that's what nerfs it. So for these cracks, put away your weapons, get the lantern out before you enter the crack, it's the fastest. And watch my input display, spam the stick. You get this fluid motion, Sebastian doesn't do the back and forth thing, and here again, tactical reload. And just crank spam. I don't deal with the small enemies here because it's segmented, and I just grinded this autosave until I got an attempt where they just didn't hit me for optimal reasons. And yeah, free aim in the deep water to override the slow walk. Standard game mechanic. And it's just sprinting until we reach the next crack. Dodge these guys. Put your weapon away, turn on the lantern. Get in. And again, spam your left stick or on mouse and keyboard your arrow key. Tactical reload. Second launch in a chapter. Again, same procedures, sharp angle. Pick up the plate, insert it, but not the bloody side. And from now on, it's just chapter 8, business as usual. So yeah, just sprint as soon as you gain control over Seb. Tactical reload at this checkpoint here for stamina refill, and this checkpoint places you a few steps further into this hallway. Free aim on the short stairs here to refill our stamina bar. It's almost the same movement speed as sprinting on stairs, but it refills your stamina bar. Spam things here to break out sooner. And the alpha chase is coming up, which has a neat solution on 60 FPS. It's not RNG. You have to do a specific motion to not get grabbed on 60 FPS. Timed cutscene skip here as soon as the game switches to cinematic. So you have to run a little bit to the left, like a left bow if you will. Pay attention to my input display. I'm just holding down here and slightly to the left and back to the center to dodge the card so the card doesn't block me and he doesn't grab me. And yes, it's the same on Nightmare and Akumu as well. There is no difficulty difference here. And chapter 8 is done. Finished chapter 8 at an in-game time 54 minutes and 38 seconds. Time to go to the mansion. Chapter 9 also has some cool skips and tricks. But first of all, we have to skip a cutscene. This is just a holding cutscene. Sebastian is locked at the same movement speed here, similar to the beginning of chapter 1, so we do the crouch spam again, the crouch walking. It's faster to move in his room here. And notice how I spam crouch, because it extends Sebastian's pickup rate, which makes me able to open the door instantly after the dialogue. Now we have to trigger 2 events here.
Memories are vague.
It's a waiting game here.
It can be
First
easy
one.
sometimes for memories to be
Jump scare ahead.
That is why they must be cherished.
This is just timed. Now, you notice on my input display I hold aim because it makes you break out of this sooner. But the camera is wonky here. But I just rolled with it, I wasted, so I lost a second there. Now it's just walk and talk here. You can't alter Zap's movement speed in any way here. You can play around with crouch and do the lantern movement, but it doesn't boost Zap in any way. I timed it, compared it. And once we gain control over Zap, I head over to this broken pillar here and perform a launch at a sharp angle again. And nerf it with not too much speed because I don't want to gain too much height to reduce airtime, and I don't want to overshoot it and shoot myself behind the mansion and out of the map. So Doctor and Leslie are just T-posing here in a way. Idle animation. You can actually perform a stealth kill on Leslie, it's pretty funny. So yeah, tactical reload as I enter the mansion. The reload gives me full stamina and makes me able to sprint right away instead of Sebastian being stuck for a few seconds. So yeah, just proceed to the left side. Do the first brain puzzle. Place the needle. I do pre-inputs here, I just hold down. And the needle just needs to be a little bit off center of the brain to the left. It's enough to solve it. So almost no input time there. Wait for the checkpoint, reload the checkpoint to skip the cutscene or half of the cutscene and proceed further into the mansion. We can't skip anything in the mansion, by the way, because we have to do the brain puzzle. Otherwise, the area after we enter the main door is just not loaded. It's transition based afterwards, and yeah, so just head over to the library here. Get rid of this guy real quick with the magnum. Pick up the dial. Reload before picking it up so Zap's hands are busy and the animation is faster. It's more clean, it's a technique. Run over to the next brain. It's just pretty straightforward gameplay, I would say. This trap is not skippable, by the way. So yeah, for the insta-shot, wait until the black bars are fully gone and then start holding aim, not before. So you get the correct hitbox for the dot. You don't create an offset. If you hold aim before, you create an offset and you get ahead of the game. You don't want that there. Crouch through here. Do this brain puzzle. All pretty straightforward. This needle needs to be a little bit to the right. I used a small nail here as visual cue and to line up the probe with the nail. Don't reload this checkpoint here because it would give you delayed Ruvik. I want Ruvik to spawn in after I exit this bedroom here to be able to insert the dials once the Ruvik cycle is completed. This is also based on a timer. And if I would reload the checkpoint, it would give me a later spawn, which would result in me having to wait when I wanna insert the dials. And so I just can progress through the mansion, pick up the second dial here. Be fast. Dodge Ruvik. Stamina management, and we are safe to insert the dials. Small note here, you don't have to solve the puzzle on your own on casual difficulty. The game turns both dials for you, it's faster. Solution is 11 on top, 2 at the bottom one. It's another cool time save exclusive to casual difficulty. Alright, third needle. Place it lined up with the eye or with the nose. And reload this checkpoint to skip half of the cutscene again.
That door should be open now.
Okay. Straightforward, business as usual. Make your way to the exit door. The door opening is based on a trigger again. And just proceed.
Slice clean, all the way. No cure for what I'm going to do to you. Peel pristine skin.
Ruvik?
Making my way to the trap room or wire room. As soon as I hit the checkpoint, reload it, tactical reload, it places you inside the room. Saves 2-3 seconds. And for this skip here, or for this strategy, glitch, whatever, just hug the left wall. You don't have to crouch around the wires. Just hug the left wall and you're good to go. Maybe it's an intended shortcut, I don't know. It also works on higher difficulties. Okay, it's time for the skull maze. It starts again with a tactical reload to shave off downtime. And from the checkpoint, I'll do a launch over the whole maze. Not too much speed, not too much height, because you can overshoot it. And during this launch, I reload my rocket launcher with style. And I can straight run into the warp zone. On this door, a reload glitch is coming up. Just stand still, reload, open door, and immediately hold B to skip the cutscene. And mash B to put away the gun, so Sebastian breaks out of the animation. And just sprint to the barn. Break out here at the stop. And open the door. It's worth mentioning here that the reload glitch can result in a soft lock on this entrance gate or entrance door to the barn, so I don't do it here because it immediately transitions into this in-game cutscene and creates the offset, and then you can run into a soft lock, so simply don't do it. So we have to watch this here. Skip this cutscene, this is timed. Play around here. Unfortunately, the last fight in the barn, it went terribly wrong. But more to that later. One more cutscene skip is coming up, and then we skip, or I skip, both cranks with a slow launch. Slow upwards launch, controlled launch, not too much speed on the left stick. And grab the ledge. No need to turn both cranks. Unfortunately, I lost a bit of time at this fight because I messed it up, because it's pretty bad on casual difficulty, because the standing up animation is so slow and they are invincible on the floor. I forgot about that. And also the bolt placement, see, it's just a bit scuffed because of the hitboxes. And they spawn in so slow on casual, so I derped around here a bit. And then I reloaded the checkpoint and finished them with the shotgun. From the checkpoint it's even slower, unfortunately, so I prefer this fight on Nightmare on the Kumu any days. They spawn in so slowly on casual, and here I reloaded a checkpoint because I was like, man, this sucked. And switched to the shotgun. But both launches before that were good, so I took this segment. You have to wait until they're fully loaded in, and they spawn in so slowly on casual. See, he ate the first shot due to invincibility. It's another thing you have to keep in mind on casual difficulty. Because they're simply on the floor longer, and their hitbox is timed or tied to height for some reason. So yeah, excuse this mistake.
You've got to keep your strength up.
My children.
Okay, chapter 9 is done. On my way to chapter 10. Saving the game, finish chapter 9 at an in-game time of 1 hour, 5 minutes and 13 seconds. Up to chapter 10. Chapter 10 starts by sprinting forward, clicking on the ladder. So short walk and talk sequence here. Chaining crouch punches again until we hit the door frame. Then Sebastian is able to sprint. Sprinting over to the ladder. Hold down A to input buffer this hop, so you don't have to click on the ladder. It's pretty easy. Don't mash. So anyways, hit the checkpoint, reload the autosave, stamina refill, and now it gets wild. I skipped the entire blade room and getting the battery by performing a mega launch here on the sandbags. Notice how early I pressed the weapon wheel to get insane height. Down the balcony here with a crouch punch. Hit the trigger right here for the sewers area to load in. Get at this height difference here, perform a zip over here. Now we are in the sewers area, but we're still out of bounds on top of the whole architecture, on top of the whole level. We still gain height on the stairs here. This spot is pretty dangerous here to fall out of bounds, by the way, or in the void. So anyways, I have to hit the checkpoint here at the double drama room. So I have to bump myself back in bounds with an explosive bolt. Not a Kumu viable, by the way. Hop down this hole here. Activate the checkpoint, reload the checkpoint to restore power. Power is restored now. Double drama room. But you notice the double dramas are not here. Because the game is in a corrupted state in a way. Have to turn this crank, unfortunately. There is no way to skip or get on top of the architecture here again. So just normal traversal here. We need power for the main door. We can't just abuse the previous glitch and get out of this whole sewers area. Doesn't work because the transition is cutscene based and it's just not there. So the round trip is completed. Reload glitch here on the lever. Nothing special. And now we can warp over to the Lara section. Okay, spamming the pistol quick draw to gain control earlier over Zap here. Just sprint forward. At this next stop, the spam is not recommended because it locks you in place longer actually. So here just traversal to the checkpoint. Reload this checkpoint for stamina refill, tactical reload again. Now more crazy things from this checkpoint. First of all, I hop over the railing. I use the wires here from a zip hop, land on the railing. And I bonk the Lara trigger by this, so Lara never shows up. I never pass the trigger, simply said, and I perform a straight upwards launch here to shoot myself over the barriers here. Saves about 20 seconds because no waiting. This is just sprinting here. Here we have this animation and I tap aim to break out sooner of it and cleaner of it and get to the door sooner. It's sprinting here, cutting corners close, get rid of my equip. So this turnaround here is cleaner and smoother without any equip. And I sprint to this Laura dungeon, Laura's lair area if you will, and this gets super sick. I want to mention that this level is also skippable. You can perform a launch on the wires and launch yourself over. But activating this level here gives you the Laura checkpoint, which I wanted because this made me able to really grind the last 2 launches, grind the Laura skip, because this Laura skip is so hard. So I'm hitting the checkpoint, reloading the autosave, and this took me hundreds of tries. This first launch is relatively easy once you have the spot and the tempo down. Making my way through the hole in the fence here, and I'm already at the elevator, but this zip is hell. You need to be super fast, immediately crouch mid-air to overshoot the cutscene trigger, run back here to make the post-elevator or post-cutscene area load in. And if you fail this zip, you trigger this cutscene early, and after the cutscene skip, Sebastian just falls into the void and you can't progress. So if the last zip doesn't have enough height, or not enough speed, or you hit the trigger mid-air, the cutscene just plays, and after the cutscene you're warped into the elevator and you just fall into the void because nothing's loaded. That's why I run back inside the room to load the area. And it's super hard, super grindy. I definitely don't recommend this for single segment. Maybe on 120 FPS, but definitely not on 60 FPS. And long story short, that was the Laura skip.
Shit, back here again.
This is just traversal now, because we have to watch the Jimenez cutscene to get warped over to the parking garage to fight the boss of chapter 10. Just sprinting over here, stamina management, cutscene skip. The checkpoint occurs immediately after the cutscene skip, and I reload the autosave that skips the mini cutscene of Sebastian slamming on the ground, and I can immediately sprint and proceed to the boss fight. Quick fall down and punch into the vent. And for the climb here, just again, input buffer, hold A, quick fall down, crouch punch in, and just this scripted thing here, jump scare. Hold A, that Sebastian immediately snaps onto the ledge, no need to mash. It's super clean, and don't hold sprint because then he just sprints against the wall. Make sure everything is clean. And this is just sprinting, triggering the boss fight. If you hold aim here, you break out a little bit sooner and sprint towards the boss to shorten this all up. Just faster. And I'm reloading the next checkpoint. I grinded the fight. The fight has some laws. For the first phase I'm switching to the rocket launcher, but the rocket launcher in this game is no silver bullet like in RE4. I need 3 rockets, one at the center to damage the eye, one on the left head, and one on the foot or his toes and to damage the car, so he gets stuck in place. He's morphing now, and you have to pay attention to the audio cue sound effect, and after the sound effect plays and he does this motion, then the eye is exposed, and this is the earliest point you can kill him. And now it's just waiting for the elevator door to open up, get some free loot in the meantime, and leaving chapter 10. Huge skips. Chapter 10 was so great. I'm really proud of this whole chapter. The grind paid off here, and all the science. Saving the game. Finish chapter 10 at an in-game time of 1 hour 12 minutes and 10 seconds. Up to chapter 11. Spoiler, it gets even crazier. The cutscene skip at the beginning is timed, so wait for holding B as soon as you see the prompt. Tactical reload here. Because this segment took me a lot of tries, but unfortunately every time you reload the autosave you are put back here, so this is just traversal. Standard stamina management. Optimal pathing. So you notice all the screen shaking and the city coming together and the buildings moving. Chapter 11, this is so cool. I still love it. Chapter 11 is great. Just wanted to mention that here. So we have to go through here. Crouch punch. This is just straightforward, normal gameplay. Okay, the first launch is coming up. It's pretty hard at 60 FPS. We have to wait until this animation, this building collapse thing is done. It sets a flag and now I'm launching up here. My airtime was not optimal here, but I took this launch. Still landed on top of this building. Now I have to make my way over here. To this water tower here. And run along. Skip the whole fence maze and run out of bounds here, past the fence maze, get up this blue container. My movement was not super optimal here, got a bad jump off here, and now we can jump down, fall down here, and we're already at the Shigyu era. But it gets even more crazy. This is nothing compared to what's coming up. Unfortunately, we have to do the swimming section here because in the middle there is a flag that gets activated for the next area to pop in or load in. So we have to swim here normally. Business as usual. Fun fact here, the Shigyu enemies are actually not loaded in because the game is in a corrupted state kinda. Again, some flags are skipped, some triggers. So it's just sprinting forward, swimming forward here, no danger here. Until I reach the next checkpoint before the Ruvik Mimic encounter.
Sure as hell.
Alright, we skipped this whole fight here by launching all the way over. Position myself here on the sidewalk. This launch is super hard. You don't want to have too much speed, but also not want to be too short on speed. So I want to land on this platform here. And there is an invisible wall. I have to run around. You might recognize this area here. This is the garage fight area over there. It's just not decompiled. So I want to zip over here, but this zip is super hard and I was nervous because the cutscene is coming up. And I was like, yeah, probably won't get it before the cutscene. There we go, there is the camera pan. But this one is super hard. You don't want to use the weapon wheel here and you want to have the right speed because you have to land on top of the garage building thing here, of the unrendered building actually, because there is a flag you have to hit for the past or the next area, the past gondola area to load in, to unpack data. So this took me a few tries and it's also a bit nerve-wracking because if you fail here you have to do the first weapon wheel launch over again. So you have to be careful, but I made it. Then you have to aim walk to this corner here, which is actually the unrendered ladder, if you will. And then you have to sprint over here. This is the second flag here. Sebastian has to trigger or has to touch to make progression work. So with the flag set, I can progress here. Run to the right of this pillar here. And jump down here. And we already are past the gondola ride. So we skipped the garage fight, the shutter fight, and the gondola ride. And now it's progressing to Kidman. Pay attention how cursed this all is, because we skipped so much. And some flags are missing. Pretty cool here. Jump down here with a crouch punch again. Wait for the checkpoint to hit. Once the checkpoint is hit, I reload the autosave. From this Shigio checkpoint, the game is still in a cursed state, so I can just sprint underneath the water to the next checkpoint, this area here. It's way faster than swimming. Now it's time for the absolute hardest segment in the whole run and the meat and potatoes of chapter 11. Water is back here, I have to shoot this body, otherwise the Shigyu would kill me. I have to swim over here a little bit, nothing out of the ordinary. Get rid of the sniper. Get over to this car, and there are 2 bottles. These are broken bottles, these bottles have no physics applied to them, which means I can use them to launch. Position myself here at this line here, setup thing, and perform a slow weapon wheel launch at a slight angle. So I land on top of this building here and make my way over to the next area in a completely broken state. So it skips the whole Kidman fight and these cutscenes and stuff. But I still have to do this dialogue thing, the walk and talk, start with Kidman, but Kidman pops in a cursed state. I have to touch Kidman. It loads the factory area, and I position the bottle here, the no physics bottle, to perform a launch into the gas factory because I want to skip the cutscenes and everything. Unfortunately, my angle was a bit off and my timing was a bit off, so I gained too much height, but I didn't travel all the way on top of the factory, so this needed a second try. But yeah, I wasted about 20 seconds. So back to the bottle. Change my angle a bit. Change my inputs a bit. And that's beautiful. All the way over to the factory. Fall down here, land on top of these things. The mannequins, over to the blue container. Back to the start of the factory actually, because the start cutscene here, the Sebastian coughing cutscene, sets the flag for everything that comes after the factory to load in. So we have to do the whole factory because of this flag actually. So run over here. At these cardboards on the floor, I perform a launch. And I land on the blue container. And on top of these cages filled with the mannequins, I can do a Super Mario-like movement with jumps. From the blue container here, fall down to the right side, behind the ladder, because in front of the ladder there is an invisible wall. You can't get down here, but fortunately on the right side you can. Anyways, up the ladder, watch the mini cutscene. We are already almost at the chapter end. Unfortunately, I failed this last launch here, but I took the segment because the factory and stuff was so good. I slipped off here. See, what I'm trying to do is normally bounce off the building and land all the way at the bus at the chapter end. But yeah, this was... I still saved it, and then, okay, I have to sprint to the chapter end. Probably cost me like 20 to 25 seconds overall. Depends on where you land after performing the launch, but it's not so much sprinting here. I have a video for this last launch on my YouTube, you can check it out. But yeah, pretty sick chapter 11 in terms of difficulty and skips, and it's done. Could be more optimal, but this is the hardest chapter in the run. So anyway, I finished chapter 11 at an in-game time of 1 hour, 21 minutes and 30 seconds. On my way to chapter 12. So, up to chapter 12. Chapter 12 is the most boring chapter and the worst chapter in the game. Starts off with a cutscene skip. And the whole bus ride, on 90-95% of the bus ride is basically scripted. So this is just a cutscene here. And as soon as we gain control over Zeb here, just shoot Heresy, the boss, with the Magnum to make it spawn the worm instantly, and you have to wait until the worm is fully loaded in, kill the worm, and then this is just scripted, it's on a timer. And the next shootout is also 90% scripted. So this is just downtime here. Grab all the ammo, grab all the loot. Wait for the shootout to start. By the way, I want to mention here, there are ways to get off the bus or out of bounds, but it's all useless because nothing is loaded. Because the transition after the shootout, after we leave the bus, it's all cutscene based. So it's a big downtime chapter, if you will. So there is not much going on here, just kill everyone. But you don't even have to be fast because it's all timed.
Now what?
Sebastian, they're on. Watch out, he's got dynamite. One down.
Enemy to the right! Knife.
Get to cover. They're shooting from above. More of them on the move.
Don't get rattled.
He's down. Hit.
On top of us! There's too many!
More of them!
Enemy up front!
Leave these ones to me. That was a close one. Keep us to the left of you.
The second fight here against Heresy is the same as the first fight. Shoot him with the Magnum once, wait until he spawns the worm, kill the worm, And it's a script. It's half cutscene, half gameplay. The only difference here at the second fight is that he spawns the worms, or in casual difficulty only one worm, by the way, 2 times. It's just a big waiting game. That's why I'm not unloading everything I have on him, because it's just a waste of resources.
Get this thing moving!
Okay, the bus ride's finally done. After this cutscene, we have to get the pack to heal Joseph.
There's an ambulance there.
After this cutscene here, a cursed thing happens in the game.
Don't let any of them on board.
It's PC version only. So yeah, hit the checkpoint here and the game auto turns on motion blur here every run. So every run I go into the menu here on this checkpoint and disable motion blur because I hate motion blur. It happens every run, it auto turns itself on, it's cursed. Deactivate it, reload the autosave and proceed to the ambulance truck. It's really nothing special here. Because on casual difficulty we can just run past everyone. But on the way back there is one cool launch. But on the way to the ambulance truck, I couldn't find a decent spot to launch all the way to the ambulance truck. So yeah, pick up the blood pack, reload the autosave. I'm making my way back to the ambulance truck, to my team. Run over here to this spot. And launch all the way back to the bus. Skips the machine gun guy, the machine gun truck coming in. And we're already back at the bus. And that's basically chapter 12, because from this on, now on, it's just this cutscene again. And the really, really bad crafted and badly programmed bus sequence, whatever it is. It's not even driving here, it's just, yeah, another semi-gameplay cutscene, 50% cutscene, 50% gameplay. And chapter 12 is finally done. At an in-game time of 1 hour 29 minutes and 33 seconds. And we're finally going into chapter 13. Chapter 13 is really cool. It also starts with a cutscene. Nothing to speed up here.
Kidman?
So once I gain control over Zeb, I just sprint and quick fall down over to this acid trap here. Crouching is on purpose while disarming it. Notice here on the end of the cycle how I hold sprint. This makes me break out of this sequence sooner. Skips the animation of Sebastian slowly moving his hands back from the animation. You just sprint out of it. Saves about a second or 1.5 seconds. So anyway, this is just normal progression here, this cutscene.
Sticking out of the ground.
Yeah, but look how it's positioned. If we can get over there, we might be able to use it to get across.
Let's just concentrate on getting out of here.
And again, once we gain control over Zeb here, just make your way to the elevator, shoot it down. Quickly fall down the ladder, drop down the ladder, and there is a slow walk segment, so I crouch spam again to walk over to this cutscene trigger just faster. It's just faster, it's just basic speedrunning.
No, don't risk it.
Hold on. I think I see another way down. I'll meet you on a lower level.
Okay, turning around here, crouch punch into the vent.
Damn it.
Just crouch through the vent. It's just straightforward normal gameplay here. Fall down here. Once you're down here, this camera pan is based on a timer, so I make sure I'm at the fence here or at the rock barrier here before the cutscene triggers. Just to get a clean hop over. Once I hit this checkpoint, I reload the autosave for stamina refill, tactical reload again. Sprint right away from the autosave, shoot this bomb here. Wait for the stamina to fully recover, so we need full stamina here to progress to the next acid trap. Can just sprint by. Casual difficulty. Again, crouching. The end of the cycle. Hold sprint. Sprint right away. Quick fall down here. Once I hit the checkpoint, tactical reload. Making my way down to the acid trap, avoid the keeper trap. This keeper trap, disarm the acid trap. No need to deal with the keeper here. If you're quick enough. 2 crouch punches here. My way through the vent. Spamming weapon swaps for some small boosts. Make sure to have a clean exit of the vent. Reload this checkpoint, and now it's time for the skip. The one and only skip in chapter 13. Just progress here, nothing special. And now you don't want to fully drop down, so drop down to this table thing here. And hop over here, it's super easy. Jump down here, jump down again. You skip the cutscene and transition to the safe room. And bomb yourself back in bounds. Saves about 40 seconds. Also not a Kumo viable, by the way. And progress to the next checkpoint. The enemy is not loaded in, by the way. Crouch punch through the vent. For this vent exit, make sure to be all the way to the right, so you get the quick slip out. Like this, you can sprint out. And yeah, this is a bit cursed here. It's not fully loaded because I skipped a checkpoint and the transition and the cutscene. So the kitchen is a bit cursed here. It's pretty funny. But don't worry, the kitchen gets restored because the game actually has 2 kitchens here. After the Rubik cutscene, the second kitchen gets loaded in. It's a trade-off here. You know, with all the traps and fire, and so it's a different kitchen. There are 2 kitchens, by the way. So anyway, reloading the autosave. Proceeding through the kitchen. Standard casual difficulty route. Dealing with the Roomba while I wait for the flames. Disarm this acid trap. Again, crouching so I can break out cleaner. And making my way to the final fight of the chapter. On casual difficulty, 1 upgraded magnum shot is enough to finish off the keeper. Just waiting for this checkpoint, because reloading this autosave skips 2 seconds of the cutscene. We can shoot immediately. Quickly aim at the keeper, instantly kill him, set the flag that this food elevator opens up. And chapter 13 is basically done, because this is just waiting here. So I want to talk about a few things in chapter 13. There are multiple ways you can get out of bounds or leave the intended paths of chapter 13, you know, on the balconies and stuff. But chapter 13 is so flags and transition based and stuff, like you can, for example, skip the first acid trap, like get out of bounds from the start, launch over it, you get the idea, but you can't progress further because the next areas are not loaded. because every acid trap is linked to progression flags again. So we have to keep this in check again. You get the idea by now. Okay, and this is just sprinting to the chapter end. Just sprinting, stamina management, cutting corners, free aim on the stairs. And you notice I switched to the harpoon bolt because I need it in chapter 14. Skip the final cutscene. Chapter 13 is done. And I finished chapter 13 at an in-game time of 1 hour 35 minutes and 55 seconds. And up to chapter 14.
Joseph, you've got to be alive.
So once I gain control over Zap, just run to the right here to this board on the floor and perform a forward zip with the weapon wheel, just for style points and saves like 2-3 seconds. Proceed to the next checkpoint. Reload the autosave, tactical reload, stamina refill. Just straightforward gameplay, sprint through the subway station here, casual difficulty, I don't have to deal with anyone here. Open this shutter, mess around with the wall bomb. And again, tactical reload, because stamina refill. Now it's time for the first out of bounds. Open this gate. Run over to these rocks here at the entrance of the train. Form a launch, but not too much speed and not too sharp of an angle, because I don't want to overshoot it. I want to land here, crouch through here, and I have to get down on the right here to set the flag for the web to be loaded. And here on these rails, I perform a launch over to the web here, have a pretty scuffed landing, and this is why I need the harpoon bolt, because I don't use a match on these webs. I light them up with the flame harpoon bolt. And again, tactical reload. From this checkpoint is just stamina management and cool movement, so sprinting. Notice how I hold A here. This input buffers the climb and avoids Zap picking up the jar of green gel. Just sprinting here. Crouch punch through here, activate the lever, manage your stamina bar. Nothing too crazy here. Next lever, next crouch punch. Little bit to the left to bait the alter ego crawling in. And then just proceed through this vent. Again, keep to the right to get the quick slip down. And just use free aim to override the slow walking speed. And reloading the next autosave. To not get the slowdowns while sprinting at the next area, make sure to free aim before the tripwire or sooner before the tripwire so Sebastian doesn't get stopped, and then you always get the full sprint speed. So picking up the fuse here, now my new bottle strat, pick up this bottle again, no physics bottle, place it to the right, turn the camera away, reload glitch at the valve and over the bottle. Free aim and through this sewer here. Again, jump off, short free aim up the ladder, getting my crossbow with the harpoon bolt ready for the next web, because it's faster than using matches. Quick shoot, proceed, prepare a shock bolt, shoot once with the handgun to have a reload glitch ready, through this crack again, stick spamming, and reload this next autosave. This room is absolute hell on casual difficulty because you have no traumas here, you just have alter egos here, but it's way too much. So it's definitely, this room is the hardest on casual difficulty because it's so imbalanced and so dumb. So just sprinting over to the valve here. Notice how many of them are here. Placing my shock bolt, get my handgun, reload glitch at the valve. Again, Sebastian has to stand still. And proceed to the next checkpoint. I switched to a flash bolt before I hit the checkpoint, because I want to have the flash bolt ready once I gain control over Seb. So hit the checkpoint, reload the autosave, have the flash ready, just flash straight on the floor to make sure Quell disappears and you skip the scripted encounter where he grabs you. The flash bolt does 1 damage and it equals to a handgun bullet on this encounter. So this is just reversal here, stamina management, get the freeze bolt ready, insert the fuse. Seb is an electrician.
Damn it. What am I, an electrician?
Trigger the boss fight by turning on the power. Quell is coming out of the wall. Short mini cutscene. Normal gameplay. And once I gain control over Seb, I instantly freeze Quell and delete him with the Magnum. He's already dead, but higher difficulty muscle memory did me dirty here. Anyways, proceed. Turn on power again. Make use of the elevator. And this is just normal progression here. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any skip for this, so I just have to deal with the downtime here, but it is what it is. Just crafting some extra freeze bolts here, because a cool trick is coming up, which I found. It's called the freeze bolt breakout. But more to that in a moment. So basically, now we left the elevator, we just proceed here to the next checkpoint. Stamina management. And go. Checkpoint hit, reload the autosave. Now it's time for the walk and talk segment through the drain here. Okay, we've triggered the first pillar here, first word. Now we're in walk and talk state, turn around. Crouch punches, place the freeze bolt on the blue texture on the floor. Sebastian gets scared, but the freeze bolt breaks him out and you are able to proceed sooner by 3 seconds, 4 seconds. And just crouch punches, hop over here. Say hello to Ruvik and to a lot of downtime and waiting.
Published my research in your name again. Did you think I wouldn't find out?
And I have done you a favor. You have no credentials. You'd never appear in a reputable journal otherwise. Nobody in the world knows you even exist.
Oh, but they will know. I have surpassed you in every way you can imagine. No matter. I have what I need. All that's left is the procedure.
Indeed. That is why we are here.
We? You wouldn't dare. You couldn't complete it without me.
Precisely.
Time for the second tub room in the game. Just reload the autosave. It's a bit faster. Again, use the shock bolt on the tree haunted. This room is a bit different. They have slightly different AI here, so it's easier to get at them. I just bait them here. Wait a little bit. Let the shock bolt do its thing. Notice how I hold crouch again. And just mash B to unplug all 3 of them. Last one. And hold B to skip this last cutscene, but it doesn't matter that much because the in-game time pauses here anyways. And chapter 14 is done. At an in-game time of 1 hour 44 minutes and 20 seconds. The final chapter starts with a cutscene skip. You can just hold B. Okay, once we gain control over Seb, we're in a slow walking state again here, so I hold aim to chain crouch punches, 2 here, and then crouch to the door to click on the door from further away, since crouching expands Seb's range. Same here on the second door, crouch shortly and click on the door from further away. Go to the trigger here, switch to the freeze ball for another breakout, sprint here, place it, and you immediately gain control over Seb again. And proceed. Saves about 3.5 seconds again.
This way.
Holding sprint, spamming quick draw to gain control over Seb sooner. It's just cleaner and faster. Switch to the explosive bolt because I need it later. And just sprint through the scripts here. Follow Leslie. It's normal progression here. And stamina management. Cool little fun fact here, pay attention to the blue label. The text changes. And once you hit the button here, just chain crouch punches to break out sooner, and it's faster because you're in a walk and talk state. Until the shaking here, the earthquake.
This way.
It's going to come down.
This way.
Beacon, just like Joseph said.
Okay, holding sprint here, spamming quick draw to break out a little bit sooner. Make sure to sprint over the rocks to avoid getting stuck or Seb's slow jogging animation, and I refill my stamina here on the more flat ground. And sprint again over the rocks. And no, you can't launch all the way up to the entrance because there are like 10 invisible walls down the rocks here. Once you click on the door, let go of sprint. Otherwise you stop the bar from refilling.
I knew it.
And you don't want that. You want a full stamina bar to sprint right away after the animation. And this is just normal progression here. Making my way back down to chapter 1. Crouch here again to access the button from further away. Sprint down the stairs. Okay, so there is a cool little quick fall down coming up. Make sure to turn Seb to the right and hug the corner and the wall, and Sebastian will quick fall down, but don't let go of sprint. Just turn him to the right and turn the camera. And proceed normally here. Okay, kicking open the last door. And Sebastian is in a walk and talk state here, so I just aim. I don't punch because I want to refill the stamina bar. And after Leslie is done screaming, you can sprint. Just proceed to the elevator. So, it's time for the first launch, or a zip hop, because I don't use the weapon wheel here. So anyway, we reach the yard, skip the cutscene, go to the left here on this ledge. The spot is not precise, and the angle it's very easy. You jump into the hallway here, and you have to bomb yourself back in bounds. Small mistake here, because there is only collision on the pipe. This was a live bra moment, so I bumped myself back in bounds. This skips opening the 2 slow doors and waiting for the journalist trigger and skipping the cutscene, and I'm right at the Ruvik encounter here. Skipping the cutscene, and we are at the gauntlet. But not for very long. I'm just waiting for the checkpoint here, for a tactical reload. Alright, from this checkpoint, proceed to this flash pit here, at a flatter angle and a slower launch. A nerfed normal weapon wheel launch, I would say, to not overshoot Sebastian. Waiting for the camera pan. Kick open the door to get the checkpoint. And reload the autosave. And I skip the gauntlet and the snipers area. From the checkpoint I just proceed to the double keepers, and I wanted to talk about levers real quick here. All combat related levers in the game can be shot, like this one. But progression related levers always have to be pulled, they can't be shot. Alright, the double keepers spawning in, wait for them to fully spawn in, otherwise the damage would not be recognized. 1 shot to the backpack, 2 on the body, and another on the body. The shot on the backpack keeps him in a stunned state and turns him perfectly for a second shot. Remember, the keepers are invincible on the head, by the way. Proceeding to this stealth section, just trigger the Ruvik dialogue. You can cancel it, but wait for it to start. It saves some time. See, the transition is way faster. Okay, just a tactical reload here. Alright, the stealth section is pretty easy on casual difficulty. Just run forward here, left from the wheelchair, shoot this eye, keep pushing forward. Approach the wheelchair on the right side, spam your quick swaps to push it. Shoot these 2 eyes, there are no traps on casual. Switch to flashbolt, pull this lever. Flash the 3 eyes. The lever needs to be pulled, by the way, because it's a progression related lever, not a combat lever. Shoot the keeper trap and just push forward. Like standard speedrun gameplay here. Once you gain control over Seb, you can push all the way to the left here, or to your left, and run along the side here, this flash, to avoid the zigzag pattern, and it's faster to escape basically. Alright, we're back in the yard. Time for the final elevator. Okay, we're up there. Just sprint all the way to the right here to trigger this dialogue. Zeb sees himself.
Can't be.
This is just cutscenes from here on. Nothing to explain. Just a timed cutscene skip. No inputs needed here. And another timed cutscene skip. Followed by another timed cutscene skip. Tactical reload here, because I grinded the segment a bit. So hold sprint here and keep all the way to the right to avoid the stagger from this truck. And after you pass the truck, just stay all the way to the left. Remember, hold down sprint here, gives you slight faster movement speed. And it's just scripted encounter here. Avoid the claws. Casual gameplay here. Got stuck for a moment. Nice meme. For the machine gun truck part, I used the mouse so you don't see any input on my controller. Fortunately, I was a bit slow, so I could have broken the class a few seconds faster. But I finished the run during the heat wave. I had 32 degrees Celsius in my apartment. It was hell. So yeah, I lost about 3 seconds here. Not a big deal. Time for the final boss with the rocket launcher. I aim for this thing on his throat to get an insta-shot or a headshot on the class. Unfortunately I missed here, so I just spammed rockets until I get the red dot. And to finish him with the rocket launcher cost me about 10 seconds. But again, the heat wave, I wanted to finish the run. And it's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things.
I created this world. You cannot keep me here.
Ruvik. I'm going to finish this.
And we managed to escape Stem. The in-game time is still running here, by the way. The in-game time stops at the final cutscene skip.
Leave that one. And those two. They're not going anywhere. No one can.
And time. This is the exact moment the in-game time stops. And I finished the run at an in-game time of 1 hour, 59 minutes and 23 seconds with 0 deaths. The first sub 2 hour speedrun in the history of The Evil Within. Yeah, what can I say? The run could have been faster, but that's not the point. Yeah, the in-game time could have been grinded down a few more minutes. The point of this run again was to make insane use of the launch glitch and zipping and see what's possible. It was a fun journey. I discovered a lot of new skips. I found cool ways. I learned a lot of all the small things in the game. It was a hell of a ride. What can I say? Thank you so much for watching if you made it to this point. I hope you learned a few things about the speedrun of this game and this game in general. Also special shoutouts to Kurumi, a glitch hunter from China, who also discovered a lot of things with the new glitch I found. To see more about our progress, check my and or his Twitter account. If you want to dive deeper into launching, so yeah, I saved the in-game time here. Official in-game time of 1 hour, 59 minutes and 23 seconds. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the bell for more Evil Within based content. I also have a lot of tutorials, guides, comparisons, funny moments of the game on my channel, so if you're interested in that, feel free to check it out. And feel free to follow me on Twitch to catch me doing live runs of the game. And other things, such as challenge runs or other games in general, like RE4 and Manhunt. We're a cool community on my Twitch. Feel free to hang out with us. It would be my pleasure. Again, thank you so much for watching this run. If you have any further questions, please check the description box. I try to pack in all the links and all the information I can in there. And of course, if you have any other specific questions, make sure to drop a comment and I try to answer everything as accurate as possible to help you out with maybe learning the game. If you want to dive deeper, make sure to check out the speedrun.com page of The Evil Within to see all the other categories, the other runners, the leaderboards. And with that being said, if you liked the run, like the video, leave a comment. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike. Also let me know. Yeah, have a nice one. Hopefully see you on my Twitch channel. Bye bye.